All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about sustainable policy, sustainable connectivity, sustainable policy, sustainable homes. Our next guest is, of course, a pillar in the Philippine business, and he is an icon in the real estate industry. And let me tell you this, he has prioritized sustainability, prioritize sustainability as a core principle in property development here in the Philippines. This gentleman knows no introduction. He's a rock star in property development here in the country. Let us all please welcome Jaime Jimmy González, Vice Chairman and President of Arthaland Corporation. Hello, Jimmy. Hello, sir. How are you? Please have a seat. So, you know, I've been reading your bio and your CV, and it's endless. A lot of stories to tell, a lot of experience, legacy in Philippine business and in the real estate industry. So, can you please share with us, how has the real estate industry in the country and the financial markets evolved through the years?
Well, and this probably will show my age, no?
You're only in your 60s.
Used to be.
It
used to be.
It used to be, not in the 60s.
In fact, when I was growing up, we were wondering, why the hell will anyone want to live in a condo? We were all living in houses. No?
Yes.
And some of my other friends here will remember, no? Those with a little bit of white hair. No? And also, when you bought a house, you basically had to pay cash for it, equity.
Mm-hmm.
Because the banks weren't lending long-term funds to purchase property. And over time, we were proven wrong, no? Living in an apartment is so convenient. In fact, so much cheaper than staying in a house.
Mm-hmm.
No?
The upkeep.
And the upkeep is so much more expensive than the monthly that you have to pay. And the banks have been lending a lot of money to support not only the developers, but also the end buyers. And that for me is the major change. No? And it's allowed the industry to meet pent-up demand.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people with white hair like us have been moving out of our homes and into vertical developments, right?
That's right. That's right.
And will this trend continue, Mr. González? I mean, what is still to come, especially in property development?
Well, number one, I think the trend will definitely continue.
Mm.
Apart from anything else, as you all know, the price of buying a piece of property or a standalone house is really prohibitive now. The young people cannot afford it, no? So there'll be more demand for good, high-quality apartments for people to stay in. What's happening, though, at the same time, and this is not unique here in the Philippines, is people want to go out of town. So they're looking for places outside to go to every so often. And this was further stimulated by COVID, no? Where we were all, whether you were staying in an apartment or in a house, you were looking for a place to go to. And that's why prices of properties outside Manila, whether it be in a mountain resort or the beach or whatever, they've all shut up. No?
Where is the demand really coming from? Is it from OFWs, from the middle class, from the elite who just continue to accumulate units?
Well, you've got those two sources. One is on the high end of the market. We're all talking to the same buyers, no?
Yeah.
And many of them have several units already, and they're buying it for investment, no? But look, it is so obvious that the middle market is growing significantly. we were talking earlier today about traffic in Manila. And obviously, the government's trying to address that. If you take a look at the cars caught in traffic, they're all mid-size cars. Who owns these cars? It's the middle market. So the economy, the middle market is growing, and they're the ones wanting to buy more reasonably priced condos. And it's the middle market that will drive this economy. It won't be the rich guys. It obviously won't be the low-income groups, but it's the middle market that will drive this economy. And for me, that's a positive thing. Huh?
So, sir, you don't basically see any glut, any oversupply, even in the middle market, despite the demand.
Well,
Because if all the developers are moving towards the middle market, there could be an oversupply.
the key thing is to be able to differentiate yourself. There's always a danger of an oversupply, you know? So, and as you know, real estate market goes in cycles, no? At some point in time, things will come down, no? So you need to be able to differentiate yourselves, and that's what we're trying to do, no?
So is there potentially a bubble here?
This is a question that we constantly ask ourselves whenever we've got a board meeting or an ExCom. Where are we in the cycle? I, for one, tend to be quite conservative, and I've been proven wrong so far, no? But one's going to be ready for the cycle to turn. And that's why, although in my company, Arthaland, we've grown significantly. We've grown fivefold in the past 5 years in terms of development space. We've kept our debt levels very low. Because in the event that things turn, we know we can go through it.
And tell us more about the developments, Mr. González, of Arthaland. Because you have prioritized sustainability development.
All of our projects in our portfolio are certified as green and sustainable, both locally and internationally. So you've got, of course, here you've got Verde of the Philippine Green Building Council. You've got LEED certification of the U.S. Green Building Council. We also are certified by the Well Institute, wherein we provide the features that takes care of the health of the occupants of the buildings. So it's not only the building itself, but also you got to take care of the people working or living in it. And we're also certified by the International Finance Corporation of the World Bank as net zero carbon. The building across from Shangri-La, we're proud that it's the first building certified by the world, first building in the world certified by the World Bank under its EDGE program as being net zero. And we were applying this through all of our projects. So that's our commitment. That's our commitment to ourselves, our commitment to our stakeholders, because we see climate change and the challenges to the environment as the most critical issue today that we're facing. And all of these buildings, I'm not going to harvest the benefits of all of our developments. Yeah. It's really for the next generations, no? And you got to take care of the environment.
Taking care of the environment, you care about the environment, net zero, sustainable development. But are you the lone player? Or are there others? Are there others among the Philippine developers who also care, like yourself, about green buildings?
Well, I think you're seeing more and more, like my colleagues over there, my friends, more and more developers are adopting it. Now, there are challenges, obviously. It costs money to build in the sustainable features. And that's why I just tell my staff in the company, they simply have to work much harder to cover the additional cost.
But for a lot of fund managers, and they're also looking at investing in green buildings here in the Philippines, and also partnering and investing with sustainable developers like yourself.
Yes, the dilemma here is costing us more money to build in all of the features. We're not getting a premium on lease rentals or selling prices, because you got to compete in the market. The only advantage, and we've seen this particularly with the multinationals, they're given directives that they can only move into green and sustainable buildings, but they will only pay the same price as the market. So we simply have to be more efficient, more clever, to be able to absorb the additional, and you don't see it as an additional expense. It's an investment in the future.
So, Mr. González, tell us about the developments of Arthaland. Where are you located at the moment?
Well, we've got 3 buildings here in Bonifacio, in BGC.
And which are these buildings?
These are, well, you've got Arthaland Century Pacific Tower, which is our flagship office building. We've got 2 towers in Aria Residences, which is our residential condo project. We've got 2 buildings in Arca South, which is also part of the gig. We've got a high-end sort of luxury condo in Makati. We've got a master plan community in Binyan, Laguna. And the first part of that was dorms, because we're right adjacent to the La Salle University, and there are many schools in that area, so we built dorms, which I believe is the best dorm in the country today. We're in Cebu. We concluded an office building in Cebu with 1 tower with a gross floor area of 11 hectares. And we completed that during the pandemic, where we had to house 1,000 workers on site. And they were not allowed to leave, because if they went back home, they may bring back the virus. No? So we had to feed them 3 meals a day, create barracks, etc. But we finished on time and below budget. And we have a residential project as well in Cebu. And we've got quite a number of projects in the pipeline. Yeah.
And what were some of the most challenging moments over the past couple, how would I say, several years, as amid all of these, the pandemic. Of course, we also have higher interest rate environment. Of course, you also had previously the financial crisis of 1997, 2008. I mean, what were some of the most challenging? Of course, before that, there were many. I mean, you faced many challenges, but what has been the most challenging one?
The most challenging one was when we started. Although I assembled a very strong management team, we were unproven in the market. And to be fair to the prospective buyers, they didn't know what we could deliver. So we brought in friends and family to our showroom, explained to them what the projects were all about, and none of them bit. None of them bought.
They still went to the leading developers to buy their units.
Yeah, exactly. We were unproven. Simple as that. No? So we had to show proof of concept. And fortunately, our residence fully sold out. Arthaland Century Pacific Tower is fully let out. We've been very fortunate. I must also say that we're beneficiaries of the economy. Regardless of what people say, the economy has been growing. There's a lot of money in the system. Banks are willing to lend money to support. Certainly in our case, we've gotten incredible support from the banks. And people have the money to buy, no? So we're a major beneficiary of the economy. No?
And when did your family and friends start to buy Arthaland properties?
I'm still trying to convince them. No, after they saw Aria Residences, they knew what we were talking about.
That was the role model.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
That was the showroom.
In fact, we have, just last week, we had a good friend who said, my biggest regret is not having bought in Aria.
Yeah. And of course, front and center right now, Mr. González, is of course the foreign ownership of land, right? I mean, We have our lawmakers talking about an economic cha-cha, opening up some of the economic provisions and hopefully selling some of our precious Philippine land to foreigners. What do you make of this? And how do you think will this all pan out, in your view?
Yes, just my opinion. Obviously, any issue like this got two sides, no? On one hand, foreigners who invest in land in the country can't take it home. They can't take it home. They're the ones bringing money into the system, no? So, on the other hand, you don't want the foreign investors to drive prices of property even further, which will prejudice the position of the local buyers who need it for their own homes, no? So I think if
salaried people like myself will not be able to buy any more property. It will just be too expensive. So there also has to be limitations.
there's got to be limitations, and maybe might be sort of what location or location specific, and maybe segment specific. You know, because you don't want. There's a lot of money outside, and if they start a little bit of money outside is a lot of money here, no? And we have to be very careful with that.
Tread very carefully, especially earlier. Mark was talking during his panel that the foreign land issue and foreign ownership of land is also a big hindrance for foreign investors to come into the country.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what do you think should be the limitations? Should it only be for condominium units? Should it be for horizontal developments? What do you think? If you were called to the Senate and asked for your advice on what you think should be the limitations. Sorry to put you on a spot. You're talking to a journalist, Mr. González, who's out of a job. What would you think? What would you think should be the limitations in terms of foreign ownership?
Maybe you should get them to, the lady from tourism earlier said, maybe we should point them to helping us develop tourism sites, no? They shouldn't go into areas where there's adequate local money and developers meeting local demand, no? You don't want that kind of competition. So it should be segment specific. Tourism would be an obvious area, no? Maybe what the lady said, medical care facilities, no? To further improve. You've seen how other countries in Asia have been able to attract a lot of medical tourism. Maybe that's an area that they can go, etc. No? So for me, it's got to be specific, no?
Maybe logistics, warehousing, data centers, but not residential.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I'll hold back on residential.
But maybe the bottom line is, for me, the bottom line is, because I'm not naman a journalist for now, just keep the Constitution as it is, right?
Yes.
I mean, look, the American Constitution has been there since 1776. It hasn't been amended. It hasn't been amended. But we've already had amendments to some key investment laws in the country, like the Foreign Liberalization Act, the Retail Liberalization Act, the Renewable Energy, the Public Services Act. So use these as a vehicles for more foreign investments and to create more jobs for Filipinos.
Rico, if you don't mind, I won't make any comments about the Constitution.
I totally understand, sir, but this is a closed door. This is a closed door gathering. No other media personality is in this room who will talk about it. So, what are the other projects of Arthaland in the pipeline? Do you plan to go even further towards south, outside of Cebu?
We're making major commitments in further south. We're buying a few hectares that will allow us to do a master plan community. Further south and a little bit south of Manila. So we're expanding, no? We're expanding. Although we've grown fivefold in 5 years, we started at a low base. We're showing a significant growth over the next 5 years, no? So
Location, of course, is really key.
yes.
But I mean, we have quite a number of developers as well, Mr. González. I mean, competing with also the big players for key locations around the country is also very challenging as well.
Not so easy. In fact, we've wanted to buy other properties and we've lost to the big boys, no? That's just the nature of the beast, no? But having said that, quite a number of property owners have approached us because they like what we're doing and they want to join venture with us. And being a smaller, medium-sized property company, we're very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I do the deal. It doesn't get delegated to several layers below me.
You're
And
more nimble.
We're more nimble, and we can create a structure that best fits both our requirements. No,
Yeah.
there's no one formula.
Yeah, because the big developers want X number of hectares, while the medium-sized developer is willing to work within a smaller number of hectares or...
And the structure of the deal, Rico,
Yeah.
can change because each owner's got their own ideas. No? So we try to listen to what they're doing, and we structure it accordingly. My other business, Rico, by the way, is an investment house. No?
Yes.
So we like putting deals together.
And how's that going?
It's going very well, thank you.
And all of these properties, the core principle is always sustainable development. You will never veer away from that.
We'll never veer away from sustainability. We also are committed to doing world-class developments. Quality is very important to us. And we require that we manage the properties even after we've sold it or we've leased it out, because property management is as critical as building the building. You got to sustain the quality at the same level, no?
And it's world class.
World class.
Yes. And of course, Mr. González, you're handling Arthaland. You also have an investment house. What do you do to relax? Do you still take a break? And you're here with me on stage. And even in between the conference, you still have to go back to the office.
Exactly.
Because there's still deals to be done.
I'm big on sports. I need, and I tell this to my staff in the office, you got to pay attention to your health.
Yes.
And one thing is not only diet, I was just telling someone.
Health is wealth.
But you got to eat well, not too much, but to eat well, but also exercise. So this morning I played 2 hours of tennis.
Tennis.
Yes.
Wow. And how young are you, Mr. González?
About 65.
You're 65. I got it right. I got it right. I predicted it correctly.
I'm actually 78.
78. Wow. Let's give Mr. González a big round of applause. Wow, still very proactive. And 2 hours of tennis. And how was the tennis match?
I play with only the pro. I play with the pro. We play singles for 2 hours.
Singles and not doubles.
No.
I play badminton and it has to be doubles. Oh my God. I get so tired.
This morning was good. We tied at 5-all.
5-all.
And it was already past the deadline because I had to go to my office. So I said, okay, I win at 5-all.
No tie break. And what is your day like, Mr. González? Now we have to find out more about the more relaxing part of Jimmy and what he does outside of the office. Okay, 2 hours of tennis. What is your day like? What time do you wake up?
About 5:15, 5:30. I like reading a book. I'm reading an interesting book now.
What is that book, especially for our
I don't know if
leaders
it's
here?
interesting to anyone except me. It's the history of Sarangani Island.
History of Sarangani Island.
Which
Why
was-
Sarangani Island?
Well, one of my involvements is I'm a member of this society of map collectors, and I organize quarterly conferences. And we had someone gave a talk on the author of this book gave a talk to us about Sarangani Island. It was the last place that Elcano in Pigafetta, who took over the ships of Magellan after he was killed, last point in the Philippines before they proceeded to the Moluccas.
Sarangani, is this the hometown of Manny Pacquiao? Sarangani?
General Jensen, hindi ba?
Jensan, but I always hear Sarangani. Where is Sarangani?
It's just there in part of the. There's a place called Sarangani Island off the coast of Mindanao.
Of Mindanao, yes.
And there's a very historical island called Balut Island there.
And have you finished the book?
No, I mean because I read about 4 or 5 different books.
4 different 5 books. My goodness. And what would be of interest to you apart from reading a book about Sarangani?
I think history and culture of the Philippines very interesting, and we need to understand our history. And if we understand our history and culture, we can be better developers because we're not just copying from outside, no? Yeah.
And always inculcate our culture, our art, and our culture into our developments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So after reading maybe a few pages of those books, do you go through your iPhone and check messages?
Actually, when I wake up, I check message, send emails already to my staff.
Oh my goodness. Would I like to work for Arthaland? At 5:30 in the morning, I'm receiving emails from the boss.
My last email is sometimes past midnight.
Past midnight.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm tempted to send them at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Why not? Why not? You know why? Because sometimes, like myself, when I would always send messages at like midnight, at 2 o'clock, because you forget. Right? It's instead of writing it down on a piece of paper which you may misplace, it's just better to send out the email.
That's right.
And they respond when they want to respond. And who want to be like a Jaime González. What is your advice?
Well, my advice to them is, number one, attention to detail. I always tell them that the devil is in the detail. You got to focus, you got to be disciplined, and there's no substitute to working hard. And then I tell them, look for something else to do outside work. Read a book, get a hobby, whatever. You become a better person, a better professional. Otherwise, you're one-dimensional. You'll be boring, no?
Yeah. You have to be multi-dimensional, right? And in terms of if you want to be your own boss, at what point should they be their own boss? Or should they just be like an employee for the rest of their lives? Do you encourage your employees also to be entrepreneurs?
Well, each one's got they have to develop their own path. Some people may end up being better by pursuing entrepreneurial ventures. It's not so easy, you know? There's a lot of risk. You've got to have some capital. But others will do extremely well working in the corporate world, no? And not one is better than the other. Both are good, no? Yeah, both are good.
And Mr. González, your final word on the real estate industry here in the Philippines.
Look, I can tell you our philosophy, which hopefully will be a final word to the group. Real estate market goes in cycles. At one stage, it will come down. There's got to be some correction at some point. When it will be, we don't know yet. No? I don't see it at all. So in our case, the best thing for us to do is not to over-leverage. Each of our projects are ring-fenced, so we don't move funds between projects. So we know each project is good, and it will be able to stand on its own. And in the event things come down, then we know we can last it out, no? And that's the way we see it, no? So there's no desire on our part to be big. We just want to develop the best quality projects that we can possibly have, which are sustainable.
And on that sustainable note, let us give a big round of applause to Jaime González, Vice Chairman and President of Arthaland Corporation. And you know what? It's been a while since I interviewed Mr. González. That was way back when I was still with CNBC. And I'm truly honored to be speaking to the man from Arthaland, Jaime González. Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat po.